Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand. A coin most people would ignore or toss into a jar, never giving it a second thought. Now imagine that very same penny being worth not just a few cents, not even a few dollars, but millions. That's the reality for certain Lincoln pennies. And among them, the 1988 coin stands as one of the most fascinating and mysterious pieces of American numismatic history. What appears to be an ordinary copper-plated coin has the potential to completely transform someone's life if it contains the right features, the right errors, and the right story. For collectors, the 1988 Lincoln coin is far more than pocket change. It is a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered in everyday circulation. The 1988 Lincoln cent comes from a time in U.S. history when the penny was undergoing subtle but significant changes. Minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, this coin seems simple at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's timeless portrait on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and the familiar reddish copper color. Yet, the value of certain 1988 pennies does not come from their face value but from their errors and variations, which turn them into priceless collector's items. The most famous of these is the 1988 double die reverse and the even rarer 1988 transitional error that connects it to the design changes of 1989. These small details, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, have made some 1988 pennies worth thousands, and in the most exceptional cases, millions. To understand why the 1988 Lincoln coin holds such power, we must look at the history of the penny itself. In 1909, the U.S. Mint introduced the Lincoln cent to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first time a real person, rather than Lady Liberty or symbolic imagery, appeared on a U.S. coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny quickly became one of the most iconic coins in American history. For decades, the reverse of the coin displayed two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity until 1959 when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design. By 1982, due to rising copper costs, the composition of the penny changed from being almost entirely copper to being mostly zinc with just a thin layer of copper plating. This shift in materials created opportunities for striking errors and variations, especially during the transitional years of design and production. In 1988, the Lincoln penny was at the heart of one such transition. The Mint was preparing for a change in the reverse design for the upcoming 1989 coinage, and in the process, some dies used to stamp the design onto blank coins were accidentally mixed. As a result, some 1988 pennies were struck with a reverse die intended for the following year. To the average person, these differences are almost invisible, but to a dedicated collector, the wrong mint mark style or the subtle shift in the designer's initials on the reverse can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth a fortune. One of the most famous varieties of the 1988 Lincoln cent is the 1988 double die reverse. On these coins, certain details of the design appear doubled, often visible in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial or in the lettering. These double dies are caused during the hubbing process, when the die itself receives multiple slightly misaligned impressions. A collector who finds one of these coins in near perfect condition could easily sell it for thousands of dollars. But even more intriguing is the 1988 transitional reverse error, where the coin shows design elements of the 1989 cent a year early. Only a handful of these exist, making them among the rarest Lincoln cents ever discovered. Some examples of these coins have sold for staggering prices, and their rarity continues to drive speculation that one day a pristine specimen could command millions. What makes the 1988 Lincoln coin so thrilling is the idea that it might still be out there hiding in circulation, tucked away in old jars or lying unnoticed in someone's chain. Unlike many rare coins that were special mint issues or quickly recalled, the 1988 errors were released into everyday use. That means anyone, anywhere could stumble upon one without realizing it. Imagine the excitement of finding such a coin in your pocket or in a forgotten roll of pennies from the bank. It's the ultimate treasure hunt, and it keeps collectors searching relentlessly. Numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, thrives on discoveries like this. Collectors are drawn not only to the monetary value but also to the stories coins carry. Each era tells a tale of human oversight, technological limitations, and historical context. The 1988 penny represents a moment when America was shifting its coinage, when small mistakes at the mint turned into lasting treasures. It embodies the idea that history can live in the smallest details and that fortune can be found in what others overlook. For some, the obsession with the 1988 penny is not about getting rich, but about the thrill of the chase. Hours are spent searching through penny rolls, squinting under magnifying glasses, studying the tiniest letters and numbers, hoping to spot the subtle variations that make the difference. It requires patience, knowledge, and a sharp eye. For those who find one, however, the reward is not only financial but emotional, the validation of effort and the joy of discovery. The market for rare pennies has only grown stronger in recent years. With the rise of online auctions and coin trading platforms, collectors from around the world can compete for these rare treasures. A 1988 transitional reverse cent in mint condition could easily trigger a bidding war, driving its price higher and higher. Some experts believe that as time passes and fewer of these coins are discovered, the value of existing specimens will skyrocket, potentially reaching millions. In fact, rare Lincoln cents have already proven their ability to fetch unbelievable prices at auctions, with some earlier dates selling for amounts that once seemed impossible for a 1-cent coin. But beyond the marketplace, the 1988 penny carries a symbolic message. It reminds us that value is not always obvious. Something small, overlooked, or considered worthless can actually hold immense worth if viewed in the right light. It teaches us to pay attention, to look closely, and to never underestimate what we have in our hand. In this sense, the 1988 Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It is a lesson in perspective, patience, and potential. Even today, coin enthusiasts continue to spread awareness about the 1980. Collectors' forums, YouTube videos, and online communities are filled with discussions about how to identify the rare versions, what signs to look for, and how to determine authenticity. Many stories circulate about people finding valuable coins in circulation, sparking a new wave of treasure hunters who check their change more carefully. The hope of stumbling upon a $1 million penny is alive and well, driving both seasoned collectors and curious beginners to search tirelessly. The 1988 Lincoln penny's journey from being struck at the mint to potentially sitting in someone's pocket change today is a story of mystery, luck, and opportunity. It reflects how history, chance, and human error combine to create something extraordinary out of the ordinary. While most pennies from that year will never be worth more than a cent, a tiny fraction hold the power to change lives. They represent hidden fortunes disguised as common coins, waiting to be uncovered by those with the curiosity to look. So the next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it as worthless. Look closer. Study the details. It might just be a 1988 Lincoln cent with the wrong reverse, or a double die error, a small piece of metal that holds the potential to be worth millions. Stories of ordinary people turning pocket change into life-changing wealth are not myths. They are real, and they continue to inspire treasure hunters around the world. The 1988 penny proves that sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to see their true value. Imagine finding a simple penny lying on the ground, a coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't even bother to pick it up. Now imagine discovering that this very same coin, this tiny piece of copper and zinc, could actually be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. That's the reality behind certain rare versions of the 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin. What appears to be just another penny in circulation could secretly hold extraordinary value, turning an overlooked piece of change into a life-changing treasure. This is why collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people with sharp eyes are constantly searching their pockets, jars, and old piggy banks for this particular coin. Because hidden within the world of common currency lies the chance for an unexpected fortune. The 1989 Lincoln cent, like many of its predecessors, carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose face has graced the 1-cent coin since 1909. By 1989, the design of the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for decades, with the obverse featuring Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln. The reverse, at that time, displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. At first glance, the 1989 coin is not extraordinary. Hundreds of millions were struck, and they can still be found in circulation. Yet, within that massive production, certain rare varieties, mint errors and pristine condition examples set some 1989 Lincoln cents apart as treasures of immense value. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint produced the majority of 1989 cents, with billions being struck. Because so many were made, most 1989 pennies are only worth face value. However, the true fascination begins when collectors encounter those rare instances where a coin doesn't quite match the standard. Minting is an industrial process, and despite strict quality control, mistakes happen. When they do, those mistakes, known as mint errors, can turn a common penny into something extraordinary. A 1989 Lincoln cent struck on the wrong planchet, for example, could be worth thousands of dollars. Some have been discovered struck on dime planchets, smaller and thinner than a penny, creating a coin that is clearly unusual and instantly valuable. Other error types include double dies, where the design appears to be duplicated or doubled due to a mistake during the hubbing process. Collectors prize double die cents, and even subtle examples can bring in large sums at auction. While the most famous double die Lincoln cents come from earlier years like 1955 and 1969, examples from 1989 also exist and are highly collectible. These coins, depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition, can sell for hundreds, thousands, or in extremely rare cases, approach life-changing sums. The thrill of potentially uncovering such a coin is what keeps many collectors searching through pocket change to this day. Condition also plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. A 1989 Lincoln cent that has been circulated and worn down is unlikely to hold much value beyond its face worth. However, coins preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those graded by professional services at the highest levels, such as MS-68 or higher, can command impressive prices at auction. In some cases, competition among collectors for the very best example can drive prices into the thousands. The combination of rarity, demand, and condition creates a perfect storm, where something as simple as a penny can suddenly become a centerpiece of a serious collection. Another fascinating element lies in transitional errors. For example, the U.S. Mint shifted from 95% copper composition to copper-plated zinc By 1989, all cents were officially struck on copper-plated zinc planchets. But mistakes sometimes occur when leftover copper planchets from earlier production years remain in the minting machinery. A 1989 cent struck on a copper planchet, if it exists, would be considered an incredible rarity and could potentially sell for massive amounts. Tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, depending on condition. In fact, transitional errors from other years have brought in record-breaking sales, with some coins selling for prices that made their finders instant millionaires. Collectors and treasure hunters often share stories of everyday people finding valuable coins in the most unexpected places. A 1989 penny worth thousands could be sitting unnoticed in a jar of spare change in an old dresser or tucked away in a forgotten wallet. What makes coin collecting so thrilling is the possibility that anyone at any moment could stumble upon one of these rare treasures. Stories circulate about ordinary families discovering that a coin passed down from a relative or simply pulled from circulation decades ago is now worth an unimaginable fortune. The market for rare coins is fueled by passionate collectors, investors, and auction houses that recognize the historical and cultural significance of these tiny pieces of metal. When a rare error or high-grade example of a 1989 Lincoln cent appears at auction, the bidding wars can be fierce. Collectors compete not only for the coin itself, but for the bragging rights of owning something that so few others in the world possess. Each of these coins represents not only monetary value but also a tangible connection to American history and craftsmanship. The Lincoln cent, despite its humble denomination, has captured the imagination of collectors for over a century. The 1989 issue may not be the most famous year, but it is a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. With billions of coins struck, the odds might seem small, but the potential rewards are enormous. For those with patience, sharp eyes, and a bit of luck, the search is always worth it. Every time a collector sifts through a handful of change, there is a chance that they could uncover the next extraordinary find. A coin that transforms an ordinary moment into an extraordinary discovery. This is the magic of coin collecting, the intersection of history, art, chance, and fortune. A single 1989 penny, overlooked by millions, could hold the power to change someone's life forever. Whether through a dramatic mint error, a pristine high-grade specimen, or a once-in-a-lifetime transitional rarity, these coins remind us that value is not always about size or denomination. Sometimes the smallest object can hold the greatest worth. And that's why the humble penny, especially the 1989 Lincoln cent, continues to inspire dreams of hidden riches, waiting patiently for someone to recognize its truth. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing it could be worth millions. A coin so ordinary, so small, that people toss it into jars, leave it in car cup holders, or forget it on countertops. Yet hidden among these everyday coins lies a treasure, one that can turn a single cent into life-changing wealth. The Lincoln 1991 cent coin is one such piece that has captured the imagination of collectors and historians, proving that even the simplest coin can hold extraordinary value. The Lincoln penny has long been a part of American life. First minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Since then, it has become the most recognizable coin in circulation. By 1990, the Lincoln cent was already a familiar part of every American's daily experience. However, that year's coinage hides fascinating details, variations, and rare errors that make certain examples worth far more than their face value. To the untrained eye, the 1990 penny might seem just like any other, but for coin collectors or numismatists, it represents a world of history, rarity, and the chance of striking gold, or in this case copper and zinc, through one small discovery. The 1990 Lincoln cent was produced in both Philadelphia and Denver, with hundreds of millions minted. Most of these coins are ordinary and worth only their face value. They are made from a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, a change implemented in 1982 when the U.S. Mint shifted away from solid copper due to rising metal costs. By 1990, this composition was standard, and millions of these zinc-based pennies flowed through the economy. Yet, as history has shown us time and again, it is the rare errors, the limited variations, and the unexpected quirks of production that can transform a common coin into a millionaire's prize. One of the most notable features collectors look for in the 1990 penny is its proof versions, particularly the 1990 no-S proof penny. This variety is extremely rare and has sold for staggering amounts at auction. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets to produce a mirror-like finish. These coins usually carry a mint mark indicating where they were struck. However, in 1990, a small number of proof pennies intended to bear the S mint mark from San Francisco were accidentally struck without it. These no-S pennies became one of the most coveted modern rarities, with some examples selling for tens of thousands of dollars and continuing to climb in value as their scarcity becomes more appreciated. For collectors, the thrill of finding such a coin is beyond words. Imagine sorting through a proof set or a coin jar and spotting one small detail or rather the absence of one, that turns an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. The missing S mint mark on a 1990 penny is a golden ticket, proof that even in modern times, the U.S. Mint is not immune to mistakes that result in legendary numismatic rarities. Over the years, stories of individuals stumbling across these coins have spread across the collecting community, fueling the dream that anyone could one day discover a $1 million penny, sitting quietly in their change. But the story of the 1990 Lincoln cent does not end there. Beyond the famous no S proof penny, collectors also seek out high-grade examples of business strikes, the ordinary coins made for circulation. Most pennies from this year will show heavy wear from use, scratches, and nick. Yet, a pristine, uncirculated coin graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can bring surprising amounts at auction. A 1990 penny in perfect condition, with flawless surfaces and sharp details, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. The reasoning is simple. In a sea of hundreds of millions of coins, perfection is nearly impossible to find. There are also varieties and errors that can elevate the 1990 penny's value even higher. Double die, obverse errors, where the lettering or date appears double due to a misalignment in the minting process, are always in demand among collectors. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a mistake during production, are examples of errors that can make the 1990 penny far more valuable than a single cent. Each of these errors is unique, and the more dramatic the mistake, the more a collector is willing to pay. Some of these coins, when combined with pristine condition, have reached valuations in the tens of thousands, creating real excitement in the numismatic world. The fascination with the Lincoln penny also lies in its connection to history. Abraham Lincoln, the nation's 16th president, is a symbol of perseverance, strength, and unity. His image on the penny represents more than just currency. It represents the enduring values of America. By 1990, Lincoln's likeness had been on the cent for more than 80 years, making it the longest-running coin design in U.S. history. For collectors, owning a rare 1990 penny is not just about wealth, it's about holding a piece of American heritage, a reminder of Lincoln's enduring legacy and the artistry of coin design. What makes the idea of a $1 million penny so powerful is the sense of possibility it carries. The average person may not think twice about a coin in their pocket, yet within that coin could be hidden a fortune. The 1990 penny embodies this mystery perfectly. While most of them will never be worth more than a cent, the rare varieties and errors prove that extraordinary value can be hidden in plain sight. For those willing to look closer, every coin tells a story, some worth a lifetime, and others worth millions. Collectors and treasure hunters alike often share tales of searching through jars of pennies, coin rolls, or old collections, dreaming of the moment they spot a detail that changes everything. For some, that dream has already come true. The No S proof penny from 1990 stands as a shining example of how a tiny error in the minting process can ripple through history, creating a modern rarity that rivals even the oldest and rarest of coins in desirability. Each time one surfaces at auction, it sparks bidding wars, headlines, and renewed hope among coin enthusiasts everywhere. Even beyond its monetary value, the 1990 Lincoln cent teaches us about the importance of paying attention to the detail. In a world where speed and convenience often overshadow observation, the simple act of looking closely at a coin can reveal wonders. Every scratch, every shine, every tiny marking holds meaning in the world of numismatics. And for those who dedicate themselves to the craft of collecting, a single cent can open doors to history, art, and unimaginable wealth. The Lincoln 1990 1-cent coin is more than just spare change. It is a reminder of possibility, a token of history, and a symbol of hidden fortune. Somewhere out there in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten proof set, a coin rests quietly, waiting for someone to notice what others have overlooked. It may look ordinary, but it holds the power to change a life. That is the magic of coins, and the 1990 Lincoln penny is one of the brightest examples. So the next time you pick up a penny, don't dismiss it as worthless. Look closer, because history has shown us that within the most ordinary objects can lie extraordinary treasure. The $1 million coin may not just be a fantasy. It could be sitting